own rocket ships. We're going to leave, and all you guys are going to have to stay behind and deal with whatever mess we've created. So yes, these secrets will exist. They have to. I mean, the people in charge are not stupid. We may think they're stupid. We laugh at our politicians in every country. But they're not all that stupid. Some of them are. Some of them are reptiles, to use a David Icke expression. I'm speaking metaphorically, he's not, but I think we agree. There's common ground there. So you have to ask yourself, what is your position on this? Where do you fit in? Where do we as individuals fit in? If the government can keep secrets, as they did with the space program, as they did with Paperclip, as they did with the assassinations, as they did with Admiral Byrd's diaries, for crying out loud. If the government keeps those secrets, why can't we have our own secrets? Why, as individuals, we're not allowed to have a Patriot Act for ourselves? Why can't we tell our governments, no, you can't have this information about me, it's classified? A friend of mine, a guy called Norman Mailer, years ago during Watergate, came up with the idea that the people should have their own CIA. This was his concept. He said there should be a people's CIA, to work against the other CIA. We should be collecting our own information. Well, things like WikiLeaks have made this possible, right? The Internet has made this possible. We have the information available to us. We can start digging. People do come out of the woodwork. They do start spilling their guts, There are people who are close to what's going on, who have a little piece of information, and they're willing to share it. And these people, when you put these pieces together, you can start to see what's really going on. That's a good thing. But also we have to have a way to protect our own information. This is the thing that governments will never agree to. They will say, wait a minute, we're keeping secrets. We have our classification systems. We have documents. We have things that you're not supposed to know because you can't handle the truth, as Jack Nicholson said. You can't handle it. But yet they give to themselves the right to know everything they possibly can about you. How does that happen? How does that work? So I think Norman Mailer was right. What you need is a way to collect information to defend yourselves against the collection of information against you. And there has to be a way to do this. And in the secret space programs that we're talking about, we'll continue to talk about today, you're going to hear about a lot of secrecy. You're going to hear about a lot of suggestions for new types of technology that have been going on. We know that technologies exist, for instance, that would give us free energy or close to free energy. And they've been in existence for a long time. We can't get access to that, because of government policies, because of secrecy, because of classified documents, because of the opposition by corporations. So our lives are on the line, because of these policies that are taken, these positions that are taken. And they're not taken by you and me. They're not taken by people in general. It's not all of us getting together and saying, why, no, we shouldn't have free energy. That's horrible. None of us would agree to that. And yet we have to accept it. And this is what's wrong. This is the kind of mentality that helped to support the space program back in the 1940s and 50s when we brought Nazi scientists over. We were not allowed to object. People did. People did. Jewish organizations wrote letters complaining to Truman, wrote letters complaining to the Pentagon about bringing Nazi scientists to the United States. Truman was on their side. Truman forbade the Pentagon from bringing Nazis to the United States. He said, no, we will not do this. This barters our soul. You can't possibly cut deals with these murderers. The Pentagon ignored him. That's how much power the president has, right? The Pentagon ignored him. They totally ignored him. And internally, the memos that have surfaced in the last few years show that they thought, well, the Jews are overreacting. They saw those films about the Holocaust. We can't trust their judgment right now. Excuse me? How could anyone who had seen the film clips in the late 1940s as they came out of Germany and were being showed in every movie theater in the United States, and all the soldiers coming back talking about liberating the camps, how could anybody have said the Jews were overreacting? They're just being emotional. Must be that time of the month for the Jews. But that's what the reaction was. And it's chilling to read this in the documents that have been declassified. Go online and find them. They're there. You can read this for yourself. It is astonishing. Read a book by Linda Hunt called Secret Agenda. Great book. Okay? She goes into a lot of detail. She reproduces these documents. It was very difficult to get a copy of this book in the United States after it was published. When I was researching Sinister Forces, and I was looking for a copy of Secret Agenda by Linda Hunt, I had to get a copy in French because there were no copies at all in the United States at that time. You could not get a used copy. You could not get a new copy. There was nothing. Luckily, I can read French. Otherwise, what's the point? But I did manage to get the book in French. Now you can get it, you can download it, but you can't get it in print. And here's a book that blew the lid off what was taking place with the paperclip program and how we had been lied to by so many people regarding the Nazi background of people like Werner von Braun and Dornberger, Strickland, and everyone else. All the Nazis. We're talking thousands that were brought over. Not a few hundred, as normally the history books will tell you. Many more than that. And the paperclip program went all the way through the 1960s, boys and girls. It wasn't just the 1940s or even the 1950s. It went all the way up to 1960 and beyond. We were bringing scientists over that late, wherever we could find them, giving them jobs, setting them up. They became wealthy in many cases. Von Braun did, Dornberger did, as they were plotting to kill political leaders and doing all sorts of other things. We gave them a lot of work and a lot of money, This is the information that we need in order to make decisions about who we're supporting, what programs we support, what policies we support. We don't know enough to make these decisions yet because we've been lied to for so long. But if we go on the supposition that everything is lies, and we'll never know the truth, we will freeze. Our gears will freeze and we'll stop. We won't go any further. We will say to ourselves, well, we'll never know anything. It's all a secret. It's a mystery. We'll have to give up. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't deny what people like the WikiLeaks founder was doing, or the people who are blowing the whistle to WikiLeaks, actually. Are all these people going on the line and saying, here's what's really going on. Here are the memos. Here's the real history of the world being told in these memos. Don't deny their sacrifice. They are trying to get this word out. They're trying to make every one of us aware of what's really going on. It makes for very sad reading, of course. Some of it is chilling. Some of it is just depressing. But we need to know. We need to know what's really going on. Are we?
Officially, we are not.
Oh, officially we're not? No problem. But I won't keep you going very much longer. I think you've heard what I have to say. I think that the other speakers are going to have their own angles in all of this and expand it even more. But I just want to give you a lot of things to think about. Think about the assassination of Kennedy because it brings all of these elements together in very unusual ways. Think about the weird churches that were involved because we know more about them today than we knew even 10 years ago or 20 years ago. These churches are still involved. They were involved in Iran-Contra. They were involved in the former Yugoslavia, in all of the fighting that was going on there. Church leaders, their names are connected to all of this. They're still running operations. It's still a covert ops organization. The American Orthodox Catholic Church, you'll find them everywhere. And they're running agents all sorts of places. Not everyone is an agent. Some of them are very sincere people, but not many. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on what's going on. When you find anomalies in the news as you're reading it, pay attention. When you find things that don't quite make sense, pay attention. When a name shows up in one news story that had showed up in one 5 years ago that you remember, pay attention. When these things happen, when these so-called coincidences take place, that's when you realize there's the action of what I call the sinister forces at work. So if you pay attention, you will learn something. It'll make you a little nervous. It'll make you a little fearful, but it will be real information. It'll be something you can really know and use and understand. So thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for listening.